Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining today. So I'm conscious we might have different ages that have joined today. So this is aimed at primary schools today, but obviously that can be from the age of 4 up to around 11. But what we're going to talk about today is really, really important for whatever age you are, because we're in quite strange times, aren't we? At the end of the day, things aren't quite normal. So today we're going to talk around a little bit about mental health, what that is. Some of you may know about that, some of you may never heard about it, and that's perfectly okay. And we'll tell you a little bit about that. And we'll go through this around as well, talking around how we can potentially support you to try and feel as happy and get through this situation as best you can. So my name's Steve, and I'm joined today by Lindsay Christian as well.
Hi everybody, it's lovely that so many people have joined us today, and I'll be chatting to you shortly after Steve.
Thanks, Lindsay. So I deliver some content to the schools that we currently operate in. So if there's any parents listening at the moment, just to give you a little bit of context, we currently work within secondary schools, but we're looking to be working within primary schools in the near future. And so that's what I do. And obviously Lindsay, as you can see, is a child and adolescent psychotherapist. So we're delighted to be joined by Lindsay today. So talked around what mental health is. I'm going to go into that in a little bit in just a short moment. First of all, you will all be on mute at the moment, so we're not going to interact vocally, because obviously if too many people talk at once, it becomes a little bit of an issue. But there is a chat box. So for some of the maybe some of the older years, sort of 4, 5, 6 children who are listening today, you can use that chat box by asking us any questions you'd like, and it should be at the top of your screen or the bottom of your screen, depending on your setup. And for those with younger children, if any parents are listening and you've got any questions, please drop them in the chat box, and me and Lindsay will be happy to answer them at the end of the presentation. Okay. So what is mental health? Okay. Well, you can see some emojis on the screen here. So if you look at the left-hand side, you can see some emojis that potentially show a bit of sadness, maybe, anger, frustration. And then as you work your way through to the right-hand side, it looks like a bit of a cheeky one on the very right, but there's some happy faces. So it could be happiness, excitement, and stuff like that. So these are a range of emotions, really. And how we talk about mental health is how we think, how we feel, and how we act. So how do we think? Well, let's think of the weather. If you look outside, I'm looking at my window now. It's a bit grey. It's a bit drizzly. It's a bit wet. So I'm thinking, oh, it's not the best weather today. And how does that actually make me feel? Well, I want to get out today for my one time of getting out and maybe doing a little bit of exercise. And because I'm going to get wet, I'm feeling a bit flat. I'm not very happy about that. And ultimately, that then leads on to how we act. So that will really dampen my motivation to go out and do the exercise. So if you look at it on the other side, if you woke up in the morning and you've seen the sun shining, you'd think, oh, this is a nice day, isn't it? And it usually makes people feel happy. It certainly makes me feel happy. And that would make me want to get out. So the way I would act is getting out there and enjoying that sun, make me feel much, much better. Okay. So how we feel changes all the time, and that's perfectly normal. That's absolutely okay. So like I said, if the sun comes out later, I might feel a bit flat now, but when the sun comes out this afternoon, I hope I'll feel a little bit better. So for you guys, this can change all the time. So what I've done here is I'm going to show you what a normal day might look like and just give you an example of how your feelings and emotions can change throughout the day. So if you're anything like me, I look forward to breakfast. I always like having a good breakfast in the morning. But have you ever gone downstairs or you've asked your mum or your dad for your favourite cereal, whatever that might be, and there's no milk? Well, that's not a good start to the day, is it? And you might feel a little bit like that cloud in the corner, huffing and puffing, the wind's blowing, a grey cloud, so you feel a little bit frustrated. But then you get over that, so you might have to have toast instead of your favourite cereal or something like that. And you actually have a catch up with your friends. Now, I know you can't see your friends at the moment with lockdown, which is very frustrating, but where we are right now, if you have a little bit of a catch up with them, it could be on your phone if you're an older pupil, or you may use mum or dad's, or you may have an iPad, and it's great to see your friends. It's great to have that interaction, and it's sort of like the weather, it's changed. The sun's popped out a bit, so you've gone from feeling a little bit frustrated about your breakfast to feeling much happier. But then after that, we do have to do a bit of learning. Now, some of you probably really enjoy your learning. Some would probably rather be having a lot more fun and having games and stuff like that. So you get some challenging schoolwork to do. So your parents might be helping you with that, but you feel again, like the weather, it can change. So you've gone from feeling really happy, chatting to your friends about what they're doing and what they've been up to then having to focus on some schoolwork. But you work hard with this schoolwork and eventually it starts making sense. And for me, there's nothing better than when you struggle with something, you stick at it, you work hard, and you get it done and you feel better. So that cloud's gone from a lightning bolt and grey cloud to a happier cloud. Okay? So you can see already different feelings and emotions in quite a short space of time. But then the days feel a little bit longer because you can't get outside, you can't do exactly what you want, and you speak to your parents because you actually really just want to see your friends. You want to go out, you want to have fun and talk to them face to face, which is totally understandable. So again, as the weather's changed again, you feel a little bit upset and a little bit sad, and that's perfectly okay. But you decide to say to your parents, we're going to go out. You might go to a plantation, you might go out on your bike, you might go for a walk, you might walk one of your pets if you've got a dog, for example, and this makes you feel better, a bit of fresh air, and the rainbow comes out from the clouds, which makes you feel great. Then you might be watching your favourite film at the end of the night, and you don't want to go to bed, but it's time to go to bed, and you feel a little bit frustrated. So I hope you can see from that, just like the weather, our feelings and emotions change all the time, and we're not always in control of them. Okay? So that's a brief introduction of how you might feel about your thoughts and your feelings. And what we do at our Listen is we acknowledge that yes, we will have positive and negative emotions and they will change throughout the day. But what we try and do is help people deal with them appropriately. So, what can you do to manage these feelings? Okay. So, I'm now going to pass you over to Lindsay, who's going to talk to you a little bit about what you can potentially do in lockdown to support yourself. And just remember, if you've got any questions or any parents have got any questions, please drop them in the chat and we'll happily answer them at the end. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Steve. Thanks very much for that introduction to our mental health and actually showing that, in a day, it is a bit of like a roller coaster. And so we do go along and we'll have some real highs, we might have some real lows, and we might sort of bob along in the middle. And everything is absolutely fine. It's all normal. It's healthy to have, real positive emotions and some more negative emotions. That's the norm. What I would say is, as well as asking any questions, if anyone that's here this morning has got any ideas on what they've been doing to help their mental health, what have you been doing in lockdown to keep yourselves okay? We'd love to hear that as well. So please drop that into the chat. So we're going to look a little bit at what you can do to help your mental health. So one of the first things, like Steve mentioned, was about getting outside, perhaps about getting active. So that can come in all shapes and sizes. And getting active doesn't mean that you have to, you don't have to go outside and do exercise necessarily. You could do a whole host of things. So there's some pictures there of various different things. We're not saying that you have to go out and lift weights, but it might be that you want to do some exercise. So I know there's lots of things on at the moment. I think one of the real important things last lockdown in particular was PE with Joe. And I know that a lot of young people that I know, they really, really enjoyed that. So getting up in the morning and getting really active and doing some fun exercise, getting dressed up, I think some mornings as well, and doing exercise with Joe Wicks was really, really helpful. But getting active really, it releases something in our bodies called hormones, and those hormones and those chemicals make us feel happy. So they call it the happy hormone. It makes you feel great. So like Steve said on that example, it might be that, you're feeling a bit down and you're feeling a bit rubbish, and actually you get outside and you have a run around, or you get out on your bike, or you go exploring somewhere that you've not been before. And actually you feel brilliant when you get back home. You find a den, or you find a tree to climb, or you find a rope swing or something, and you feel amazing. So get active, whether that is doing exercise, whether that is something inside the house, something outside the house. It might be things like learning a new skill. So it might be things like cooking, it might be gardening, it can be all sorts that you can do with getting active. But make sure that you do get active, and that comes in all shapes and sizes. And we'd love to hear like how you've been getting active in your time during lockdown. Steve, I know you've got a young daughter. What sorts of things have you been doing while she's been getting active with her?
Yeah, so we've took the opportunity to visit plantations around the island. So we've been to Archalagan, we went to Slewellian, and we went to the one in Greba, up there. And to be honest, just getting back into nature. My little girl's 6 years old. She likes collecting sticks and collecting acorns, and running through trees. We play hide and seek. So for them parents who are listening, if even if you do have a short space of time, 30 minutes or so, can tire the kids out, they have fun, so it's really, really great.
Yeah, absolutely. I know some of the young children that I know, some of the primary age children that I know, have been doing things like going down to the beaches around the island, wherever they live, and collecting things from the beaches, and then making pictures with them. So like maybe collecting sea glass or rocks, and doing some artwork onto the rocks, and then hiding them around the island for other people to find. So whatever it is that you like to do to get active, it's really important that you do. So that might be something inside the house, and it might be something outside the house, but it is really important that you get active and you get outside and get some fresh air. Okay. This is a really, really big one. So talking about your feelings. So there's lots of pictures there. So there's one thing that all these characters have similar traits to each other. So there's Timon and Pumbaa there from The Lion King. So some of you might have watched The Lion King. There's Winnie the Pooh and Piglet. There's Moana, and I think her grandma. I mean, I've not watched Moana, but I think it's a grandma. And there's Harry Potter, one of my favourites at the end there with Hagrid. And something they all have in common is that they speak to each other about how they feel. Their friends, their family, they speak to each other about if they're not feeling great, they go to speak to those people. So Harry Potter is a classic. So when he's feeling really, really worried maybe, or if he's got some really big feelings or big decisions to make and he doesn't really know what to do, he goes to Hagrid, and Hagrid speaks to him about them. They talk about all the different options, and Hagrid helps Harry. He helps him to feel better. And Winnie the Pooh and Piglet, they're always speaking with each other about big feelings. And if one of them, especially if Piglet's not feeling too good, maybe he's feeling a bit worried about something, Winnie the Pooh is always there, isn't he, to help him. So it is really important to talk about your feelings. And that might be speaking to mums and dads. It might be speaking to maybe brothers and sisters. It might be about speaking to some of your friends, if you can speak to your friends online or on the telephone or video calls. But it's really difficult at the moment because things are different. So we're not able to do all the things that we were able to do a few weeks ago because we're in lockdown at the moment. And that can make us feel a whole different range of feelings. So it can make us feel a bit worried maybe sometimes. It can make us feel a bit scared maybe sometimes. It can make us feel perhaps maybe a little bit frustrated and a little bit angry at times because we want to be able to get out and do the things we want to do. So it is really important that we speak to somebody that we trust about how we're feeling, because one of the things that sometimes we do is we keep them bottled up inside. And what can happen is, if you think of like maybe a balloon or a bottle of Coke. So if we think about a bottle of Coke, so you've got a bottle of Coke and you've got it there and it's feeling okay, but then something frustrating happens and then you shake the bottle of Coke, okay? And the pressure inside the bottle of Coke gets more and more and more. And then something else happens and you get annoyed, and then the bottle of Coke gets shook again and the pressure builds and builds and builds. And what happens is, this is a bit like your feelings. So if you've got lots of feelings and emotions running around and you don't speak to somebody about it and you keep them all locked inside, what happens is you're a bit like that bottle of Coke. So the pressure inside you builds and builds and builds. And what happens is, eventually with that bottle of Coke, is the lid will fly off it and all the emotions will come pouring out. And that's okay, but actually a more manageable way, a better way of doing that is to turn the cap every so often and let out a bit of that pressure. And that's the same with us. So if we speak about our feelings regularly, so we might speak about our feelings every day or every couple of days, if we've got any real worries, then that stops us from going and exploding everywhere. Okay, so it is really important that you have somebody that you can speak to about your feelings, and that can be lots of different people. Okay, make times for things that you enjoy. Definitely. So yes, you have got schoolwork to do, and I know that some schools are setting more work than others, which is a little bit annoying for you, I'm sure. But it's really important that you take time for things that you really enjoy. So that could be, again, things inside the house or outside the house. So some of those pictures there's like painting and artwork. So that might be like arts and crafts. It might be things like reading your favorite book or starting to read, or, you know, catching up on something that you haven't read for ages. It might be getting outside and doing some activities. So it might be things like fishing, providing you can go somewhere really quiet to do that so you're not surrounded by people. It might be things like going outside for a walk and exploring, like we've said, maybe getting out on your bike. It can be a whole host of things. And then that last picture there, if any of you are very musical, it could be that you listen to music. It could be that you write some songs. It could be that you play an instrument or you learn to play an instrument. There's a whole host of things. Some of the things that I really enjoy are getting outside. So I like to get outside for a run or for a walk. I like to take my dog out for a walk. So it might be that you've got a pet, like Steve said earlier, that you can get out for a walk. I really like listening to music. I really like watching some of my favourite TV programmes. It's a whole range of things. It could be so many different things. And Steve, you mentioned about your little girl, about some of the things that she really enjoys. I don't know whether you're happy to sort of explain a few more things that she's been doing.
Yeah, so we've watched some of our favourite movies together. So we try and get the schoolwork done, and then as a little reward at the end of the day, we sit down and watch our favourite movies. So at the moment, we're watching Harry Potter. So she knows that if she gets her schoolwork done and we get some jobs done around the house and bits and bobs, and we can actually sit down. And it's really important that you know, whilst we do have to get things done, we do create that space where we can sit down and do something that she really enjoys doing.
Yeah, and that is really important. So doing something that you enjoy is something that will really help with your mood as well. So if you're feeling a bit flat and a bit rubbish, or, you know, you're feeling a bit low, doing something that you enjoy is an instant mood booster, isn't it? It's something that, you know, that makes you feel good. So it could be lots of different things. And I know there's lots of things like computer games that lots of people like to play. Things like, oh, I don't know, I'm not really good with some of the computer games. Fortnite, I don't know whether that's appropriate for your age range, but, you know, computer games, lots of young people enjoy computer games, and that's absolutely fine. It's about making time for things that you enjoy, and that can be a whole range of things. And we'd love to hear about some of the things that you guys enjoy doing, and some of the things that you've been doing during lockdown. Okay, this is a really important one. So it's about being kind to yourself. So it's about realizing that actually, you know, there's lots of ups and downs at the moment. There's lots of uncertainty at times. You know, you're not at school and maybe you want to be at school. You're not able to see your friends. You know, it's about realizing that you're doing the best that you can. Okay, it's about taking time to just chill out, like that sloth is doing there with a nice drink. It's about realizing that it's okay to have all of your feelings, and you'll have good days and you'll have bad days, and that's okay. But it is really about being kind to yourself. So if you're having, you know, a great day, that's brilliant. But if you're perhaps having a bit of a rubbish day for whatever reason, it might be that, you know, you don't achieve everything that you need to do. It might be that you don't get all the schoolwork done that you need to. It might be, you know, that, you know, you don't get a chance to catch up with your friends, or you don't get a chance to do something. It's okay, because actually we can't do everything all the time. There's nothing, nobody is perfect. Okay, nobody is perfect at all. It's about realizing that we're all just doing the best that we can at the moment, and to really be kind to yourselves, because that's really, really important, like really important. And we say that, you know, as adults, about being kind to ourselves, because if you can't be kind to you, then how can we expect anybody else to be kind to us? So you've really got to think to yourselves about, am I doing the best I can? Yes, I am. Then that's okay. Okay, so it is about being kind to yourself and taking time for yourself. Okay. So, in just a bit of a roundup then, about, we've just done a real quick sort of whistle stop of mental health today, and what you guys can do to really help yourselves at the moment. So some of the key points that we've then talked about today are around your feelings. So it's really important. So from that diagram right at the beginning, where it was sort of very up and down, feelings are very much like that. And you can go from feeling really happy to feeling a bit sad, and then you might feel a bit angry, you might feel a bit happy again. Feelings can come all together all at once, and it can feel really unnerving, it can feel really unsettling. But actually, it's okay to have your feelings. So whatever you're feeling at any time is okay. So whether, you know, you are feeling a bit sad, you might be feeling a bit angry, those feelings are okay. Everything, all feelings are normal. So it doesn't matter how you're feeling, everything is normal. What I would say is, if you've got some feelings that you're really struggling with, then do speak to somebody about that, because if they're big emotions that you're feeling a bit scared of, it is really important that you speak to somebody. But it is about realizing that all feelings are okay, and actually it's okay to feel lots of different feelings all at the same time. Just like we showed you in that picture, you can go from feeling great to rubbish and back up again really, really quickly. And it's just about realizing that. But it's also about realizing that if you have got big emotions that are worrying you, speak to somebody that you really trust. So that might be your mum or your dad, it might be like brothers or sisters. But it's about realizing that all feelings and all emotions are okay to have. Get active. So it is really important that you get active, so that whether that's doing something inside the house, in your garden, if you're lucky enough to have a garden, or outside, you know, if you get out and about with your family, just get active in whatever you want to do. So do exercise, go visit places, you know, do things around the house, maybe do a bit of gardening when it's not raining. Whatever it is that you do, online PE classes, whatever, do something that's active to get all of those happy hormones going and racing around your body. Really make time for things that you enjoy. So we looked at all of those activities that you can do that you enjoy, and Steve spoke about some of the things him and his daughter have been doing. But make time for things that you enjoy. So whether that's something inside the house or outside, go and do something that puts a smile on your face, do something that brings you joy, do something that, you know, that really makes you happy, because that's really, really important. And lastly, be kind to yourselves. Realize that it is a difficult time at the moment, and there are things that we would like to do that we can't do. We would like to go and see our friends. We would like to see perhaps some of our family that we can't see at the moment. We perhaps want to be back at school, perhaps want to be back doing some of our clubs and activities that we were doing a couple of weeks ago that we can't do at the moment. But it's actually realizing that this won't last forever. Hopefully sooner rather than later, we'll all be back to some sort of normality. We'll be back at school, we'll be back seeing our friends and family like we were before, and things will be okay. But it's about being kind to yourself. So if you're not having a great day, or you don't maybe do everything that you need to do, it's okay. It's absolutely okay. And just be kind to yourselves. Okay. So I think at that point, Steve, we're going to go to some questions. So I don't know if anybody's got any questions that they would like to ask, or if anybody's got any things that they would like to share with us about what they've been doing in lockdown. So some of the activities they've been doing to keep themselves okay.
Thanks, Lindsay. Yeah, so some really good points there, and a great little recap just for you guys to take stuff away and hopefully make this as easy as possible. We've had some comments in about people going out on their bikes, people playing Roblox, which I know is a popular one in our house. Lego, building lots of Lego, which is great. Watching movies, learning. What I found with my little one is the learning was a little bit frustrating at the time, not being in that classroom environment. But now I've really seen that momentum build, and she's actually really enjoying it. So that's really good. So thank you for them comments. I haven't got any questions here, Lindsay. Have you had any questions at all? Or
yeah, one's just popped up there. So it just says, I'm really missing my friends. What can I do to help with that? So one thing I would suggest is, yes, we can't, it is really difficult. And I think everybody's missing their friends at the moment. I know that I am, and I'm sure Steve is as well. And I think that is really difficult for young people, because a lot of people, you know, want to be connected, and you want to go and see your friends, and you want to do some of the activities that perhaps you were doing a few weeks ago. What I would say is try to keep connected with people. So it might be, okay, so we can't see people face to face, you know, in person, but it might be that you set up video calls. It might be that you do telephone calls. I know there's lots of sort of online things like House Party and that type of thing that a lot of young people use. Obviously, you know, if you're a parent, you obviously want to, you know, ensure that whatever sort of forum your child is using obviously is appropriate. But there's lots of different ways. So I would say perhaps make some time, you know, if it's each day or every couple of days or every week, where you can be connected with your friends. So it might be that, I know some of my friends who have got younger children, they've been doing things like they've been doing activities. So if they've been doing like video calls to their friends, and they've maybe been doing a joint activity together but via video. So it might be that they've been doing like playing games and that type of thing. Obviously they've been in their own separate houses, but they've been doing that via video, so that it still feels like they're doing it together, but they're in their own homes. So it really is important that you know, you have some time each day or each week where you're connected with your friends in whichever way it is, and that likely is to be, you know, via sort of video or phone calls, text messages, that type of thing at the moment. But it is understandable that actually you will feel, you know, you will feel a bit sad, and you will be missing your friends, because that's really normal.
Thanks, Lindsay. That's great. And we're just coming up to the half hour, so I just wanted to thank everyone for coming today. You know, it is strange times, but you're all doing really well. And if you do have any questions, you can get in touch with us. So for any parents who are listening, we do have an email, info@ilisten.im. Please feel free, if you've got any concerns, to drop us an email. Myself or Lindsay or anyone else in the team will be more than happy to come back and support you. We also have a feedback survey that we've done just to gauge how things have been, if there's anything that we haven't covered or anything like that. And if you do have a smartphone, or again, any parents listening and have got a smartphone available, you can just scan that QR code and it will just take you to the survey. It takes 1 or 2 minutes, literally. It just asks for some feedback around the content and gives you an opportunity to also ask any questions in there. I will also copy that link into the chat, so if anyone does want to just click on that link, they can do that now. And from me, hopefully not too much longer, we can get back to some sort of normality. And just want to thank you once again. Anything from you, Lindsay, before we go?
Just to say thanks for those that have participated today, and I really hope that it was just a sort of a whistle stop. It was just a very quick overview, but we hope that you've come away with some ideas on how to keep yourselves okay in lockdown,